And if you didn't know, her hair is a glory unto her. Greetings, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. And if you're new here, welcome. In this video, I'm gonna be showing you how I did what I like to call the 4-stitch braids with the twist, because they are, instead of the basic 4-stitch braids, going straight back or to the side, they are twisting or crossing, crisscross across each other. So I'm starting off with, of course, clean, washed, and blow dried out straight hair. We don't want to have any oil, too much product in the hair for best results for stitch braids. And I'm using my precision comb, parting comb, to start her parts. And I like to do a zigzag part in the middle just to give it a little bit more razzle dazzle. It could be a straight part, okay? And I just started that off with a diagonal line, and then I made another diagonal line in the opposite direction. Okay, I always like to say, whenever doing parting, designs, anything with the comb, you want to imagine the comb to be kind of like a pen, okay? And use it to draw out whichever way you're going. So once you have that middle parts done, you want to go in, and I'm going to split the hair in the middle in the opposite direction. So pretty much from ear to ear, okay? I'm going to make a straight line going from ear to ear. And as I'm parting, I'm going back in and cleaning up my parts using the shining jam and making sure everything is nice and neat. Always take your time when it comes to parting for best results, okay? Go over and over it until you get it to your likings. All right, and I'm just sectioning off each section. So you should have 4 sections once you part it from ear to ear. Now I'm going to take one of those sections on the left side, and I'm going to split that in half. So let's go ahead and do a part going straight back. And we're not going to even talk about how much hair this is that I'm dealing with right now. Like, even the subsections are overwhelming, but that's okay. I'm not going to back down because there's a challenge. We're just going to still give it our best. So I'm going in with the shining jam, and I also like to use a little of the neat braid gel because it is a firmer hold. And you want to make sure you saturate your section very well with the product, okay? Don't be afraid to use the product. And I'm just going to use my comb and my fingers to smooth up the section, okay? You want to smooth it up in the direction that you're going to be pulling your stitches, or that the stitches will be going, okay? And now I'm going to part off my first subsection. This is going to be the beginning of my braid. You want to create that first stitch line. So here you'll see I'm just going to start off by braiding the braid like a basic cornrow or basic scalp braid, starting off with 3 sections. I'm going to braid that, and I like to braid on about 3, maybe 4 times just to lock in that first stitch. And then from there, I'm going to start creating more stitch lines. So every time that your hand turns over, you should be creating a new stitch line, okay? I like to use my pinky finger and my pointer finger on the opposite side. You need to figure out what stitch best for you. You could use a comb. They have little stitching tools. You could use your fingernails. Whatever it takes to get nice clean stitches is the main key, okay? And I'm kind of pulling on the hair as I'm creating that stitch line. So you'll see when I go to create the stitch line, I'm pulling the hair, and I'm also using my pinky to create the stitch line. All right, this is convenient if you have longer nails. It helps make a cleaner line. If not, you could also use some type of press on nail to help you really get the clean stitch effect. And as you can see, each time I turn my hand over, see, I created a stitch. Now when I turn my hand over, I'm going to create a stitch on the next side, okay? So y'all, stitch braids can be a very tedious style, and this is why it's good to make sure that you are charging appropriate prices so you don't overwork yourself and be underpaid, okay? And I'm being pretty aggressive throughout this process, okay? I'm keeping my fingers nice and tight and close to the scalp so that my stitches don't slack, okay? If you want nice firm stitches. You want to make sure that you keep your fingers close as possible to the client's scalp. And don't hesitate to go back and clean up any of your stitches. I wouldn't continue to braid on until I am satisfied and I have that stitch line to perfection. And here you see for this stitch, I used the comb to create it. So that was just to show you an example. I am more comfortable using my fingers, but again, like I said, try it different ways so that you can see what is going to work best for you. Finishing up on my first braid, I'm just making sure that everything is nice and neat, and I like to use a little bit of the gel or shining jam after I finish braiding to help clean up the stitches and to smooth everything out. And once I got that in, I'm just going to move forward to that next section on that side, or the next subsection that was on this side, and I'm using my gel shining jam just to smooth out that section. I did part that section and go in between to add the shining jam as well. This helps you get a more sleek mold. And don't forget to tuck out those baby hairs because they love the baby hair. So now the same thing that I did on the other side, I'm going to do it on this side. I took my comb and I parted out my first stitch line, okay? I braided that, and then I begin to create my other stitch lines. Every time my hand turns, I'm making a stitch. See, I stitched, I stitched, I stitched. So every time your hand turns, you should be making a new stitch line, okay? Don't forget this. You can also try to line up your stitches with each other from side to side. That helps make the style come out a lot neater, okay? So I'm being very aggressive here because I want her hair to be very sleek and come out neat, okay? When a client has thick hair, you may have to put a lot more muscle in it than, you know, fine hair. All right, moving right along to the next braid, and it's gonna be pretty repetitive. Y'all, please don't mind the fingerprint on the wall. If you don't know, I do have quite a few children, and they run around the house, they get in my videos, they tear things. Look, if you have children, you can definitely understand what I go through. So I just wanted to put that disclaimer out there because I know somebody's gonna notice it and say, look at the place. But, you know, you gotta love them. So I'm moving on to my last braid in the front, and I just did the same exact steps to finish that up, okay? Now we're going to the back of the hair. I did one side already, so you can see on the left side that's already done. I'm gonna demonstrate for you over here on the right side. I just added a straight part going down the middle of that section, okay? So you're going to take your comb. You can start it right at the end of that first part. Okay? I hope that makes sense. So at the ending of the first part that you made at the top, you can bring the bottom part down from that one. You just make sure that your parts are clean, using that shining jam to go in between and just clean up your parts. And once you've taken your time to get that to perfection, I'm just going to section off one of the sections so that we can go ahead and start braiding the other. Okay, so the braids need to cross each other, all right? The first two braids that you did at the top needs to cross each other as you braid them down. And don't forget to smooth out each section, okay? So I'm taking this braid right here that's on the left, and I'm braiding it down to the section that's on the right, okay? And you're gonna also make sure you're continuing to create those stitches down the entire braid. And use the Shine Jam or whatever gel that you're using as you braid down to help keep your braid nice and neat. And now I'm just going to take the other braid. I'm going to cross it across the braid that I just braided. And I'm going to braid that down to that last section that we have remaining. And I'm also continuing that stitch. And I'm just working right on down. So now for the ends, I'm going to be adding just a few. When I say a few, maybe 2 or 3 little curly boho or deep wave bulk hair, just to give it the messy or boho look. All right, and I'm just braiding that in to the end of each of the braids, and I'm taking that and I'm going to wrap those into a bun. You could do one bun in the back. You don't have to do buns. You could leave them hanging. There's so many options you could choose from, but we're going with the messy bun look. So once I secured that with some type of rubber band or bobby pins, I'm just moving on to the baby hair, and which we did flat iron it to give them a more curly texture. And I'm using my favorite edge control right now, which is the edge booster. If you know, you know. So once I got those to perfection, this was the final look. It really came out super cute. This is one of my favorite styles, especially for summer and just everyday wake up and go styling, protective styling. Alright, so I hope you all were able to get some type of information or inspiration from this video. And again, when it comes to doing hair, you want to take your time. Alright, practice is going to make it better. Alright, keep doing it over and over again until you get it to perfection. Y'all, please subscribe to the channel. I have so much more in store. Bless you for watching.